Okay, welcome to my video on creating a quick, simple Qt6 application here. We have to include here in the main CPP, we have include main window header, include our Q application program here. We have our int main. These arguments will be used later in various other tutorials. We initialize the Q application here and we pass in its parameters here. We initialize an instance of the main window, we're just calling it window. Right now, we have a program here. If window.quit is true, it'll return an error of 1. Other than that, the window will show and it'll continue with app exec. In here, our main header window, we have the Q main window, which is the main primary. This creates a Q calendar widget. We're including QString. We also have a simple label. I don't really need QTimer, but that'll be later on. We'll be creating a timer later on. It doesn't hurt. We have QDebug for outputting any messages to the terminal. These are Qt widgets for setting up the actual display and the GUI boxes. We have a vertical box layout here, horizontal box layout, status bar, which we'll be using later just for some simple status messages, and of course the main Q widget is required. Create a class of main window. Public is Q main window, and it's all Q object. Creating a constructor with the Q widget parent, null pointer, destructor, default because Qt handles all the destructions. There's our simple program function here that is called from the main. It just returns the value of mquit, which is initialized here at false. And we also have an initialization function here that's private. And this just sets up our Q widget. We have to set up a central widget. This sets up the top widget, a bottom widget. Next, we're going to set up 3 layouts. We have a vertical box layout here, which contains the top and bottom layouts. Then here we have our calendar widget, and our label widget, and our status bar. The code here is very simple. Here's our initialization routine. Once the constructor is called in the main, it calls the init function. If it returns false from the init, it says error creating the window and returns the mquit true. It tells the main function that there was an error and we should quit the program. The constructor is empty. Like I said, Qt handles all the destruction. We set an object name. Will be later on. We could always change the object name and the title here. This right now is just making sure. And that's the object name is a Qt demo main window. We're setting a simple size of 640 by 480. Let's set up our central widget here. This is just a pointer to meaning that it's this function. We set up our central widget. Now we set up our V layout, new virtual box layout, vertical box layout to the central widget. We're setting up our top widget and top layout right here. Setting up the bottom widget and layout. And it's just set. Bottom widget points to set layout. of the bottom layout. And we both set the vertical layout right here and add the top and bottom widgets. This one, we set a calendar widget, which has already been initialized here. Calendar widget calendar is null pointer. We set the grid visibility to true. Set the horizontal header format. This sets certain parameters of the calendar widget. Right now we have short day names, but we can change this to also long day names. Just put that here in quotes so you can set, we could toggle between either one. That is just a comment. Then we have the top layout, adding the calendar widget. Now let's set up a simple label. Setting it up for alignment of both the horizontal and the vertical. So it's centered inside the label and inside of the widget. Then we just set a text of Qstring. Set the bottom layout to add the simple label widget. And then set up the status bar right here. And set the status bar to status bar. Here we could even add a message. Just this. It's actually set message. We should also use Qstring. It says status. And cmake dash dash. I've already got the project set up, so it's a cmake dash dash build and build. Okay, I just had an error there. It's actually show message. Let's do this, and it should be okay to. Okay, I just forgot to set the status bar show message. I am status. Now we can just execute the Qt demo here in the build Qt demo, and there we go. We have our simple calendar program widget, the demo label. This is just its title. We'll set the title later, but and we have I am a status. And it exits, everything's fine. And that is to create a simple Qt6 widget program. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy this video.